in Florida, tourism, such a huge economic driver. Any concern this could be either blightful or potentially environmentally dangerous and hurt tourism?
You know, the answer is no. In Florida, the area of greatest interest is 125 miles off of the coast of Florida. And so with the kind of protective measures that are in place and the new technologies, the risk is not one that is something that scares me or ought to scare anybody in Florida.
There must be a lot of reservations you're getting from environmental groups who make the argument that this could be visually disruptive, if not potentially dangerous to the shorelines.
You know, we have heard concerns from some of the environmental organizations or others that are very supportive of what the president has done here and what we have done, because we're protecting Bristol Bay in Alaska, we're protecting the Pacific, we're being very thoughtful relative to how we move forward on the Atlantic. And so I believe that when the conservation community really sees the whole picture of what we've done, they'll say this president has stood up for conservation in a way that hasn't happened for a very long time.
Secretary, I know there's a bit of a process that has to happen, a big process to get to the point where work actually begins. But practically speaking, how fast could work start off the shore?
You know, off the Atlantic, there will be work that will be done on seismic, which essentially is understanding what is there, because the information now is 30 years old. I think for the American people who own this property, it's important that they know what is out there, because right now everybody has been having this debate in the dark. So we need to know what is out there. And once we know what is out there, then we need to make sure we're protecting the environment, that we're protecting the military training mission and space. And so it's still a long time before you ultimately get to any kind of drilling.
Is it possible, Mr. Secretary, there could be actual work sites, workmen along the coastal areas servicing these sites that maybe go dozens of miles offshore?
You know, there's no doubt at all. There are hundreds of thousands of jobs that are associated with oil and gas and with the whole community. You see that in places like New Orleans and others, which are very dependent on oil and gas. And it's more than just the communities that have those direct jobs. You know, this economy of ours in the United States wouldn't be able to be powered if it wasn't for oil and gas. That's where we are today, and that's where, at least until we make a bridge to a new energy future, that's where we're going to be.
One last question on this issue. Being more specific on that last question, is it possible the work sites could be set up in coastal areas in a state like Florida, in a state like North Carolina?
Absolutely. The work sites in areas that are close to where the production takes place obviously happen. That's why you see Louisiana and places like Mobile, Alabama, where you have significant number of jobs that support the local economy associated with the oil and gas energy industry.